The funeral was almost over when the German shepherd suddenly started barking at the casket. Nobody understood why. At first, everyone thought it was grief. But soon the barking grew insistent, desperate, and what happened next stunned everyone. This dog held a secret no one had guessed, and that secret changed everything. The farewell ceremony was quiet, broken only by muffled sobs and the rustle of fabric. People sat in black suits and dresses, heads bowed as the priest spoke the last words. At the foot of the flag-draped casket sat Rex, a German shepherd wearing a black K9 police vest. He wasn't howling or whining, but didn't sit still either. At first, there was a faint whimper, like he sensed something was wrong. He lifted his head, ears twitching. Then a soft, short bark, controlled but tense. People turned. The officer's widow, Amanda, looked at him worried but assumed it was just sorrow. Rex wasn't just any dog. He was Daniel Granger's partner, an officer who died in the line of duty. But moments later, Rex jumped up. His body stiffened, eyes locked on the casket. His tail straightened, ears perked. Then he barked again, loud, sharp, like an alarm slicing through the silence. The officer next to him tried pulling on his leash, but Rex didn't budge. He began scratching the wooden casket with his paws, claws scraping lacquer while low growls escaped him. Whispers spread. Someone stood up. Something was off. The priest fell silent. The scratching grew louder, harsher, shattering the solemn stillness of the room. Guests' expressions shifted from confusion to concern. A few whispered, others exchanged glances. Even the toughest among them sensed this was more than grief. Officer Bryant, Daniel's old friend and Rex's former handler, rose and slowly approached the dog. He knelt and reached out his hand. "Easy, boy," he murmured, placing his palm on Rex's neck. But Rex didn't turn. His body trembled with tension, eyes still drilling into the coffin. Suddenly, another sharp bark at the base of the lid. Then Rex circled the casket, nose tracing the seams, snorting and whining, stopping again where he had barked first. Bryant frowned. Something was very wrong. "Hold on," he said aloud, pressing his ear against the wood. Everyone held their breath. The air thickened with tension. Silence. But then, Bryant jerked back, eyes wide. "I heard something," he gasped. "What?" Amanda asked, standing, voice trembling with a mix of hope and fear. "There's someone or something inside," Bryant said, turning to the funeral director. "Open the casket. Now." "I'm sorry, but—" "Open it," Bryant commanded, voice steel-cold and firm. He was an officer, not asking, ordering. Rex growled deeply and nudged the lid. The murmurs grew louder, some gasped, a few stood up. Under mounting pressure, shaking hands, the director moved forward and slowly lifted the lid. The hinges creaked. The room fell silent as if breath itself stopped. Then a rustle. A tiny, wet puppy, curled inside the folds of the officer's uniform, stirred. Barely born, trembling, softly whining, trying to burrow into the warmth still lingering in Daniel's clothes. Gasps and startled steps back followed. Some covered their mouths. Amanda, speechless, stared wide-eyed. Rex sat beside it, emitting a low, almost fatherly whimper. He looked at the pup not as a stranger, but as someone he was sworn to protect. The silence was deafening. No one moved. The puppy kept faintly squeaking, snuggling against the fabric, its breathing weak but steady. It was alive. Officer Bryant carefully lifted the little one into his hands. The pup instinctively curled into his palms, shaking all over. "This is impossible," someone whispered. Rex barked softly and gently licked the puppy's damp forehead. It wasn't fearful or alarming, it was confirmation. "I knew he was here." Something slipped from the folds of the uniform when Bryant raised the pup, a thin, folded letter. Bryant, still in shock, unfolded it. The handwriting was clear, confident, blue ink. "If anything happens to me, take care of them. Take care of her," Bryant read aloud. Gasps again. Amanda swayed like she'd been struck. She clasped her hand to her chest. Rex sat at Bryant's feet, eyes never leaving the puppy. His gaze softened. His mission wasn't over. He hadn't just been grieving, he was guarding. Bryant opened the letter further and began reading. If you're reading this, it means I didn't come back. I didn't make it. The night I was fading, I held on as long as I could. Rex didn't leave. He kept me warm, licked my face, tried to lift me up, but he understood. I just held her close and whispered, "Protect her." He understood. He always understood. Brian closed his eyes, clutching the letter tightly. He hoped Daniel's spirit was still near, that he saw Rex standing guard, his daughter sleeping under a blanket, and his wife smiling through tears. The next morning, the department gathered for an emergency meeting. The question was simple. What do we do with the puppy? The answer was clear. She stays with Amanda, Bryant said firmly. And Rex. No discussion. No one objected. No voices were raised. Everyone knew this wasn't just a dog. It was their fallen comrade's last will. He earned this to be fulfilled. From that day on, Rex had a new mission. He hadn't just lost a partner. He'd found a purpose. Weeks went by. Amanda named the puppy Leah. She grew under Rex's watchful eye. When she whimpered, he was there. When she slept, he laid beside her, nose tucked in the blanket's edge. He no longer barked without cause. He no longer whimpered. He was always close, quiet as a shadow, strong as a wall. Amanda once told Bryant, "He's not just guarding her, he loves her like a father." Months passed. Winter slowly gave way to early spring. Amanda's house was quiet except for the soft creak of floorboards and occasional gentle barks from the porch. Stepping outside with her tea, she saw the familiar sight. Rex lying on the steps, Leah running circles around him, playfully chasing his tail. He didn't move much, just lazily watched her with endless patience. He wasn't a puppy. He was a guardian. When Leah fell, he nudged her gently with his nose. When she reached up to the sky, pretending to be birds flying, he sat close. When she finally fell asleep, he curled beside her, keeping half an eye on the world. For him, she was everything. One evening Amanda pulled out Daniel's box of belongings, his badge, old photos, notebook, and the letters she'd read so many times. Cradling Leah, she sat by the fire. Rex settled nearby. "She's growing up, Dan," she whispered to the empty room. "And she's got you, in her eyes, your gaze, in her voice, your strength." Rex sighed and moved closer. She would grow knowing she had a hero for a dad and a dog who saved her, not because it was an order, but because he loved him. A year later, a new photo appeared on the police station's wall, a smiling 5-year-old girl sitting in the grass, with a tall, sturdy German shepherd with flecks of gray over his eyes. His gaze was still alert but full of kindness. The plaque read, "Officer X, loyalty beyond death." Below, in handwriting, was a line. "Sometimes a bark is more than a sound, it's a promise."